I'll start things off with a basic fluffy vanilla cupcake. I've got 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter, and I'm going to beat that with 1.5 cups of regular sugar. There, I can see that the butter and sugar has turned a little fluffier, but also a little lighter in color. So that's my sign that it's time to add the eggs. I've got 5 eggs, so I'll add them one at a time, beating well after each addition, and then scraping down the bowl now and again so I get right to the bottom and everything is nice and smooth. Now it's time to get the dry ingredients ready. Cake and pastry flour is a key ingredient in making a fluffy, light cupcake. This recipe takes 2.5 cups. I measure first and then sift. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Just 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'll measure a cup of milk. A full tablespoon of vanilla. What's important for a nice smooth batter that bakes into a fluffy cupcake is to start by adding dry ingredients and end with the dry ingredients. And I do this on lower speed. There we go, a basic vanilla cupcake batter. I find using an ice cream scoop gives me even portioning. So that way, no one's arguing about who has a bigger cupcake. There we go, 24 cupcakes. I've preheated the oven to 350, and these cupcakes take 18 minutes until they're done. They'll just be lightly browned on top. As the cupcakes bake, they rise up to fill the paper cups and then just turn a light golden brown on top. You can smell that vanilla. Now, you check the doneness of cupcakes just like you do cake. You insert a skewer. When it comes clear of any batter or crumbs, you know the cupcakes are done. It's important to cool your cupcakes completely. I have some already cooled and put on a rack, all ready for frosting. So this is the fun part, making the frosting and decorating the cupcakes. So I'm starting with 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter. I've sifted 6 cups of icing sugar. So first I'll beat the butter to make it nice and fluffy. And 6 cups is a lot of icing sugar. And so make sure you start the mixer on low speed first. The real secret to a very fluffy cupcake frosting is to add 6 tablespoons of milk. This lightens up the texture and consistency of the frosting. I'll add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And after the added 2 cups, then I can play with the consistency until I know it's just perfect to pipe on top of the cupcakes. If you've made your frosting ahead of time and stored it chilled, you can use it again, bring it up to room temperature, and if you find it's separated or split a little bit, just simply beat it with an additional 2 tablespoons of butter and icing sugar, and you'll find it'll come back to that fluffy state you had the first time. All right. Now, I've got a piping bag fitted with a large plain tip. We're starting with the basics here, getting comfortable with the concept of the cupcake and the icing. I'll just scoop this in. To keep your buttercream frosting from melting, it's important to hold your piping bag from the top, not right around the frosting. And then guide with your hand over the tip. And just remember, if you're a novice cupcake baker, that your mistakes are erasable. Just scrape off the frosting and start again. And for a little finish, you can use a plain white or even a colored decorator's sugar right on top. There we go, a simple but delicious fluffy vanilla cupcake.